Welcome to Amazing African Spotlight, a platform to tell the stories of Africans who are passionate about Africa and are actively working towards impacting the landscape. These are specifically people who might not be necessarily recognized across the continent, but are doing great work to impact the ecosystem. Are you ready to be inspired by the stories of amazing Africans? Then fasten your seatbelts as we take this exhilarating ride. On today's episode, we have Odunayo Aliu, who is a social entrepreneur working in the area of education and community development. Experience spans environment and rural development and creating and leading educational projects across different communities. She is the founder of Bramble Network, an educational-focused non-profit organization that provides and accelerates access to equitable education for young Africans. Bramble Network is transforming the education space in Africa, starting from Nigeria by trying to solve the problem of access and quality. Listen in.
Can you tell us on your name, what you do, what your initiative is about? I know you run an NGO, that has gone global. And, just tell us about yourself briefly.
Okay. Thank you, Odunayo, for that question. My name is Odunayo Aliu, and I am a social entrepreneur working in the area of education and community development. My experience spans across, environment and rural development, and simply also creating and leading educational projects across different communities. So I am the founder of an organization called Bramble Network. Bramble is an educational focused non-profit organization that provides access or simply accelerates, access to equitable education for young Africans. We like to say that we are transforming the education space in Africa, starting from Nigeria. And so the problem we're solving is really about access and quality. So currently, the school system, when people think about education generally, they think about school. And so if we want to stay with school as the definition of education, which, that isn't, even if we decide to stay with that alone, we see that a lot of young people don't even have access. Using the last statistics released by UNICEF, that says that currently we have almost 20 million children in Nigeria alone that does not go to school. So these were some of the passion that really started this work, and we started since 2016. Back in 2016, what we used to do was would raise scholarship and simply enroll children from poor and marginalized backgrounds, enroll them in traditional schools. But after doing that for a while, we saw that yes, we were doing something, but it's like we're scratching the surface. Why did I say that? Because when we usually bring these children together and try to assess what they've been learning, how are they doing and all of that, and we realized that even though many of them were in school, but they were not really learning. So that was like the turning point that we felt we wanted to do something different, something better, and we just pivot from there. And since 2018, it's been a journey of, we'll say we are learning through adventure. So yeah, that's us in summary.
That's so amazing. I was also going to ask a follow-up. How did you start? But I think you've already given a brief about that. Maybe you want to expand on it, how you went from providing scholarship actually providing your whole silo.
Okay. So, like I mentioned earlier, in 2016, the journey started fully in 2016. So, at the time, I met a young boy. His name is Dada. That had, his story was somehow very. I mean, something about him just drew me closer to him. I wanted to know more, and so I met his family and enrolled him in school. So from Dada, we started working with other children. But 2017, we realized that I think we had an holiday program at the time, and we had some of these children come around to just do like a summer program, and we discovered that even the ones that were in like grade 3, primary 3, primary 4 at the time, could not write their own name, which for us, it felt like we're wasting money, so we're paying for school fees, but these children could not really do as little as, write simple sentences in correct sentences. So, and I also knew at the time that, I had myself and my team members, which were my friends at the time, we had big plans, wanted to see these young people live, a very fulfilling life. We wanted to see them transformed. We wanted to give them opportunities beyond their background, and we felt like doing that, the approach we were taking at that particular time may not lead to that end. So because my background is in education, I started researching. I wanted to see what were people in other countries doing that we could learn from. And my research led me, one thing to the other. Then I came into the world of alternative education, and somehow I had the opportunity to travel and study abroad. And I was also able to interact with a lot of thought leaders, a lot of people leading philosophies that are providing better alternatives to our traditional school system. So it was during that journey that I decided that, okay, this is what I wanted to do. And I came back home and started implementing. So it was between that 2016 to 2018 that the old thing evolved into what we're doing now. So by 2018, we decided to we felt like education can be fun, education can be truly engaging and transforming. Education is beyond just simply cramming some tests that you have been taught in classroom so that you can move on to the next grade level, and the way we say it in Nigeria currently, that's la cram, la pour, la delete. So you cram for exam, you then forget about everything after the examination. That's not what education is. Education is about transforming who you are, So yeah, that's how the journey, evolved. And currently we are focused on promoting and just popularizing different alternatives to traditional school systems.
I just need your story is actually really inspiring. Like, I can hear your passion coming through, but I just need some data. So can you tell us the name of where you are currently implementing this initiative? Your schools, where are they currently operating? How many students have you reached so far? Maybe one success story, or one student who has really, gone, who has really fully, should I say, manifested what your vision was when you started. Yeah, so I also asked that, is there any child or who is probably now a teenager who has, gone through all the phases within your initiative and is actually showing significant results right now? Just like one success story or something.
Okay. Yes. Even though we are like young in the game, we have recorded some success stories. Like I mentioned, we have people that are not, that just want to. We've had people that came to just learn skills, and so they're not like interested in going through, like school grade-based kind of education. We've had one case is Bose currently runs her own fashion enterprise, and she came into our space when she was very clueless about what to do with her life, but now she's doing something, and she's able to cover her own needs and even support her parents. Recently as well, we had one of our learners that became a young author, and he wrote a book on injustice, because again, usually people ask young people, what do you want to be when you grow up? But what we do is, what problem do you want to solve? Because one of our aim is to raise a generation of young people that are creative and enjoy solving problems. So from a young age, young people can actually be nurtured to be problem solvers. So he wrote a book on injustice, and interestingly, this book is now traveling across the world. So recently he got an invitation to lead a dialogue for some young people like him in Morocco. So this sort of transformation. Last year as well, we had one of our learners, Victoria, that completed, she decided she wants to go through university. Another thing is, you have all the options in front of you. You can decide to go to university to study, whatever course of you want to study. You can decide to also go start an enterprise. So either ways you want to go, you have all the resources, and we would have prepared you as much as we can. So one of our learners last year decided that she wants to go study in the university. Then she sat independently for the national examination, which she aced, and so beyond all of this academic and career oriented result, we also see a lot of improvements in character and just being human. We're seeing young people that their parents literally say, oh, this one is a fighter, before coming to the learning space. This one is, people that they've had with, a lot of wrong things in the community. And you literally see young people after 2 months, 3 months in the learning space begin to exhibit, great values. So I have, for example, Rashidat is one of, the case studies that, our story is one that is, that's really, really touched me, because when Rashida was coming, in the community where she lives, they know her to be someone that is very troublesome, that was very troublesome, those young people that abuses elders, that throw stones on your roof and all of those things. And so she came to the learning space. One of the culture that we have is we're very strong on values and ethics. So every day in the learning community, we sit and discuss values that we believe is important for us as a community. So
For example, we call it family meeting. So for example, this week we can be exploring kindness. Next week we can be exploring, say, integrity. And I mean, anybody, both young and old, can jump up and say, oh, I agree, I don't agree, this is what integrity means to me, and all of that. So over time, I think for Rashida, it's less than 6 months, Rashida became one of the kindest person I know. She literally transformed, and this is not an exemption. It's for all the learners. It has become something that parents tell other parents that if your child is troublesome, if your child is giving you headache, just send the child to Bramble, because they know that there's just something transforming them there. And for us, it's just the culture of how the whole place is designed, and because the learning community is a place where there's dignity, there's everybody is valuable. There's no culture of, I'm the educator, I'm superior, you can't talk, you can question, you can critique things. And giving young people agency to lead and to their voice is being heard. So I think those are some of the things that have led to that. And personally, for me personally as an individual, these are some of the things that makes me really excited and just motivates me on this journey, in those very transformational things that happen within them as an individual. Yes, there's a lot of academic and external changes, but I really, really celebrate all of this, because if from a young age we are people of integrity, we are kind, we have empathy, then we'll have a better society generally.
A quick question: the boy who published this book, how old is he?
He's 16. He's going to be 16. Yeah.
Okay. I really want to keep this thing an hour. I wish we could keep talking, but there's so much. But one question I want to quickly ask before I go to the other questions I have. There are actually several questions. I'm not really sure we'll be able to cover them. I just send the rest to you via email, so maybe send us some links for us to get more information. But I want to ask, do you have a personal story that influenced the beginning of this community, this initiative? Do you have like a personal story, or personal just a background that sort of brought on all of these ideas, or was it just purely because you have a background in education?
A personal story that led to this work?
Yeah, to all of this work, yes.
Well, I shared in the beginning that I met a particular child that was really what my meeting with Dada was what kickstarted this whole passion. Before that time, I'd always seen young people that are either not going to school or begging on the streets and all of that, but there was something about that boy that's just deeply connected with me. And because I also studied education, I think my background in education, or just being within the space, had also sort of opened my eyes to see all the statistics around people that don't have access and all of that. So and because over time as well, I've been really deeply involved in the communities where we work. At a point, I had to even move to live in one of these villages. So that as well made it's now myself and this work, we're one. It's like a life mission. So it's like different pockets of experiences over time that have come together to become what we're doing now.
Thank you for sharing that. what was your key motivation, for starting this? Is there anything aside from what you've already shared? If there's no other thing, it's fine. But is there any other motivation, for starting this?
So my motivation is really about making the life of young people better. I'm very passionate about young people having access, equitable access, because I've seen how education can transform people's lives. Many of the people that we see as role models today, many of the people changing the world today, are really because somebody dared to believe in them, and they just latch onto this opportunity and their story is transformed. So I've seen different people that are close to me, and maybe also for me personally, I've seen how education is just a powerful tool that can transform people. So and for a very long time I've been involved with coaching and mentoring young people. So I hate to see children and youth, young people generally, become permanently deformed. Maybe that's not the right word. Become permanently, in a box, limited because of where they are born, because of what they have. And this is what is happening typically. So if you are born in a rural community, and when I say rural community, the kind of communities where we work are very remote, places where there's no transportation, there's very limited access to internet. In fact, some places there's no internet at all, and school, and it's like they're in their own world. So over time we've seen that people from this kind of settings, there's a way their life go. It's like there's a natural ceiling on what they can achieve. They are not able to dream beyond a particular level, and that breaks my heart a lot. I want people to be able to choose. What you become should be what you choose. Yes, there should be option. So so my mission is really as many millions of people as possible that we can give options, let them have access to resources, and they can then determine by themselves how their life turns. So not because of where they are born or what they have, but let's give everybody a springboard where they can start their life from.
That's really inspiring. Okay, I would like to ask, I'm sure you've probably faced several challenges along the line. Nobody can actually set out on this kind of journey and not be faced with roadblocks. So can you share some of the most significant challenges, whether past or present, and how you overcame or how you are overcoming them?
Yeah, like you said, several challenges, and I joked with maybe not a joke, it's something that I was sharing with one of our team members, that there's not going to be a point where there's going to be we're challenge free. It's just that we move from one challenge to the other. So some of the very significant challenges we've faced, in addition to the constant, resource limitation, access to funding, access to, funding, and a whole lot of human resources and all of that. We have had to, I think, also transforming, helping people to see in a different way, because usually when you say education, people are thinking about schools, people are thinking about the typical primary 1, primary 2, GSS1, GSS2 kind of schooling. So we have had to like begin to reorient people and say, oh, there are different options. There are several paths to learning, and learning is not limited to typical classroom. I think a significant, or maybe one story I can share, is when I had to move from the comfort of the city to one of the communities where we work. I remember that, at that time, it was 2019, I had a very big office in the city, a very, one of those places to desire to have an office, full AC, very well furnished, large space and all. And at that time, we were running a program in an urban slum. But we wanted to just do a pilot in that slum. We told them we were going to the pilot was designed to run for 3 months. But we eventually spent about 5 months there because they did not want us to go. So the next phase then was we knew that we wanted to have like a permanent space in a village, in a rural community. We've done this in an urban slum. It worked. Let's see how it will work in a rural community. So, I remember that, it was a fateful Sunday that I told we had one staff at the time, one full-time staff at the time, and several volunteers. So I told her, and thank God she was crazy as I was, that we need to go to this community, blah, 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 and all of that. So one fateful Sunday afternoon, I got, I think, a 10-ton truck. We loaded it with plastic bottles. At the time, we were doing a campaign to get waste bottles to build 2 classrooms. So I had gotten some bottles donated. So in the midst of all the bottles, I threw my traveling bag inside. She also threw her traveling bag inside. And we were going to a land of no return. I did not, we had done community mapping, and we knew that village was a place where we wanted to work. So we did not envisage all the several challenges that will follow. But because we had open mind, we were ready for the adventure somehow. We got to the village in the evening. The truck got stuck at some point. It couldn't go again. Villagers came to our rescue to help us unpack, and all of those things. And that marked the first day in that community. And, we didn't look back since then. So, yes, several challenges, access to resources, but we have always been a team that knows how to really improvise. So, for example, when we got to the community, there was no building to work with. We didn't have a building of our own. We didn't have anything. So we had to sharpen our skill in community and local community mobilization and, using local resources. So we got, I think, the only religious center in the whole area, that was like a mission church. We started using that place. And there were several trees. So there's this, the Agbalumo tree. The community is really known for Agbalumo. So those trees became our, like a classroom. We sit under the trees to have dialogues and discussion and all of those things. And, from there, we began to, I mentioned that we did campaign for plastic bottles. So we got a lot of plastic bottles, and communities came together. We started filling the bottles with sand to build. So we're able to build with the bottles. Then we also at some points felt that, there is bamboo. We got bamboos from the community. We also use bamboo to build as well. So we're just improvising, learning along the way, where we are today. Today, the learning space is fully set up. There are a lot of buildings, there are a lot of, different things. All happened within the space of less than 5 years. So I usually tell people that yes, there's resources in this world, but it's just that it is what it is. It's not, access to resources is not very equitable, but it's enough. If you really have a dream, there is always a way around. There is always a way, So if you're crazy enough to pursue your dream, there will always be a way. So I think, that's one of the significant challenges that we're faced. And maybe another one would be, human power. Because we work in rural. It's only people that are crazy enough like you that follow you to the kind of community where we work. And people when they come for the first time, they'll think that, and I don't blame them because of insecurity. Like, are you trying to kidnap me or what? To get people to, do things in this kind of communities is a bit challenging. But again, after a while, your tribe will find you. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I would like to run through a bit, maybe in brief. Can you share, by the way, do you charge the students? Do they pay anything? Those learning, do they pay anything at all to get access to?
It's tuition free. Although we ask them to show commitment, just so that they have a level of ownership as well in the whole process. Commitment could be in the kind of learning resources that you bring. When we're doing the bottle thing, we ask them to gather plastic bottles to show their commitment. Different things. So, but it's tuition-free education.
Can you share a bit about your vision for this project? Do you intend to expand, beyond where you are right now?
It's a Pan-African vision, and I like this is amazing Africans. So this is the right place to say that. Our goal is to be able to provide, to reach as many communities as possible in Africa, which we are, started to do in some ways. In Nigeria, currently, we work in Oyo State and Kwara. This year, we're going to be doing something in Lagos as well, and maybe somewhere in the East as well. So our strategy is to partner with to collaborate with local partners to, help them to see how they can set up alternative learning centers in their communities so that more young people can have access to equitable education.
We are already moving towards the end. So what are the key collaborations that have been useful to you in the past, and what kind of opportunities are you looking forward to in the future?
In the past, we have collaborated with other non-profit organizations and even governments. In Oyo State, we have done a few things with government support in terms of giving, maybe opening up their space for us to do things, and also partnering with community leaders and community-based organizations, opening access to new communities for us. So we have also had other partners that are also maybe in other sectors. For example, we have I mean, we have a friend called, for example, Entojutu. They work in the agri space, and because they're in the agri space, they have access to rural farmers, and that as well, because they are also seeking to increase opportunities and for their benefit, for the people they work with. So we've had times where we say, okay, we work with rural farmers, rural women, but their children also need education, so those kind of collaborations have been helpful. Because we are also in rural communities, we have access to farmers, we also invite them to give them trainings and other sort of resources. So consistently, we are always looking to broaden the opportunities that our communities have access to. So beyond, and education is very encompassing. We've done a lot of projects in using Arikanki as an example now. We've set up water. We've set up community water, for the whole community because they didn't have access to potable water. We have brought a partner to. We have worked with the U.S. government, Access Bank, to design a community library. We have also brought a partner to build a pad bank and also a food bank in the community. So any community where we go, because we strongly believe in collaboration, and we know that working together we'll be able to achieve much more. So any opportunity that can benefit the community, we bring it to them.
That's so good. That's so good. Can you mention, are there any significant awards or recognition that you've gotten through your work, that you can share about, so that we can, include this in this feature?
Recognitions, we've been honored to have both local and international recognitions. We've worked. I mentioned U.S. government in the U.S. consular in Nigeria. We did that project last year, 2022 into 2023. And that particular one brought about Access Bank and Oyo State government, Oyo State Youth Ministry, as partners. We have been part of several consultations, in Kenya, Senegal. Okay, again, last year we were part of a UN program in Senegal. To consult on a particular key thing that they were trying to put together. We are part of Catalyst 2030, which is a global coalition of social impact organization, and that as well we have been able to support the coalition in different ways. This is just to mention a few. There are several, ways that our work has been acknowledged and recognized, both in Nigeria and outside Nigeria. And we have partners outside Nigeria as well that we are working together to just broaden the opportunities that our members have access to. We work with a particular organization in Morocco as well. Yeah, that's right.
I think this is really the end of it. I think your work is really inspiring, and it's not superficial, in the sense that you're not just looking for how to just simply create impact and go, right? Provide education and go, but you're really thinking to the root of things, right? And everybody knows that education is is like the gateway to economic transformation or national transformation. And the fact that you're not just working on their skills, you're also working on their minds, on their character, and through that already providing infrastructures in all of these rural places. I mean, this is national transformation happening. And I'm so glad. And thank you so much for taking the time to share your story with us.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Amazing African Spotlight. We hope you were inspired by the story of our amazing African. Do well to stay in touch with us for more episodes like this by subscribing to our newsletter on LinkedIn, here on Spotify, and following our Instagram handle at Amazing African Spotlight. You can find the links in our bio. Until next time, bye.